I do this. I hate it. I was like, let me just put my phone in.
I will call the regular meeting of the Everman City Council to order. The time is 6:32 on Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023. Everybody please rise for a moment of silence while I pledge allegiance. I got to control it. Amen. Okay, first item is item 6, citizens' comments. You'll turn mine down. Bear with us.
At this time, any person who desires to speak on any item posted on the agenda or any person with business before the city council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the city council, provided that a speaker's request form has been completed and provided to the city secretary prior to the start of the meeting. Speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless otherwise granted by the mayor. The city council cannot respond to any matters. Excuse me.
Good evening, everyone. I was here regarding the underground water line that's being constructed at Columbine. It was my understanding the original completion date was in August. So I'm here to see if we do have an estimated new completion date for the water line.
So the council can't express that exactly. We need to take the brick. What I think that is, if you want to reach out to our director, we'll be happy to talk with you about this is for the human share not we can't do it back.
Okay, thank you. I was just looking for an answer, not a deliberation. So my apologies.
Okay. All right, next item. Item 7, discussion items. Item A, consideration and discussion related to the Tarrant County Appraisal District ballot of appointments to Board of Directors beginning January 1st, 2024. everybody received the stuff from Tad with the nominees on it. We have a total of 5 votes. My recommendation would be to give them all to one individual. One of them, Blaylock, is a Fort Worth council member, and the Fort Worth votes alone, he's probably going to have 1,200 votes, 1,300, something like that. So, Mr. Gary Lasada was going to be here tonight, but he had a prior commitment. But anyway, I'll open up the floor to discussion.
Yeah, what we're going to need tonight too from council, Mayor, just so we can draft the appropriate resolution is just to kind of give us a general consensus on which direction you want to go. So that way the city attorney's office has a direction to draft that resolution. We'll come back next meeting and you'll be asked to adopt a resolution allocating your votes accordingly. You have the option, you can split up 5 votes if you want and cast 1 on each. Bear in mind, we are one of the smaller entities within Tarrant County, so we have one of the fewest amount of votes to cast. So it may not provide as much of an impact on the vote if you were to split your votes up in that manner. Just something to consider. You can do it however you would like. But our recommendation, staff's recommendation would be to keep all 5 votes together and put as much power behind the candidate you wish to see in that seat as possible.
Do you have any suggestions?
Well, I did speak to Gary Lasada, I believe yesterday, and he relies on the small cities to get enough votes to get in. And therefore he represents the small cities. So he would be my recommendation. He's the only one that's made an attempt to come visit us for our 5 votes. So
We're a small city.
yeah. So that would be my recommendation.
Well, I vote with your recommendation for Mr. Gary Lasada. Not that we're having to vote.
Oh, anybody else have any ideas or comments on that, or?
Yes or no for Lasada? We okay with that?
I'm good.
Yes, okay. Then I guess we're good with Mr. Lasada.
Please, sir.
I do believe he's going to try to be at the next meeting. He could not be here tonight because he had a fire commitment. So let's see, item B, staff reports, substandard building processes and procedures update.
So as you know, we've had significant complaints related to substandard building processes and code enforcement. So we've been working with the city attorney's office to try to address those. And our current policies and ordinances are not really conducive to allowing us to proceed with that process the way we need to. So we had a consult between Corporal Scott Dabbs, myself, and the city attorney on how to best move forward with this. And we've got to make a couple of adjustments. One of those adjustments being we need to appoint, because the city has never actually appointed a substandard building commission. We need to appoint a substandard building commission, and we're going to do that through the ordinance. Now, before you start making notes, we have the ability of appointing either the city council as a substandard building commission or planning and zoning, or if we have a board of adjustments or a board of appeals. Our recommendation is going to be that we appoint the planning and zoning commission as the substandard building commission. That way council doesn't have to worry about finding, additional board members to serve on a whole separate committee that will meet very rarely. I mean, they won't be meeting on substandard building issues every month or anything. So it's hard to build those committees that are meeting, just a few times a year. This will allow us to keep the setup that we already have with our planning and zoning commission and just allow them to serve a dual role. Once you pass that ordinance and allow that to happen, then the corporal, who is our code enforcement officer, he'll take any cases he has related to substandard buildings before that committee, who will then take necessary action and have the authority to take necessary action, ultimately coming to you if it needs a hearing after that, giving us the steps and processes we need to move forward with building condemnation, processing liens on buildings, if we need to take possession and demo any buildings that may be a substandard structure or safety violation. It sets the policies and procedures up for us to move forward with that. And I know we've got a couple of buildings of concern right now. we have one apartment building in particular that's been a safety hazard to us that we were questioning about. City attorney has given us guidance on that, on how to move forward. So we've now addressed the safety concerns. That'll be the first case that we'll be taking to the substandard building committee, or the planning and zoning commission, will be that particular apartment building. So I just wanted to put that on your radar, because next meeting we'll likely be asking you to pass an ordinance that sets this up for us, so that we can move forward with trying to clean up some of these buildings.
What type of experience are you looking for this board? What type of decisions will they be making?
Well, they'll be making decisions based upon expertise provided by staff. So we're not going to be looking to fill any seats specifically. The current planning and zoning commission members will still serve as the commission members for the substandard building.
Well, no, I know I'm aware of that, but I'm just asking for as, I think it should be opened up to, other people if they want to serve on the board, on that board.
Well, I mean, the planning and zoning commission seats are certainly appointed by you. You have the ability to appoint or remove as you wish on those seats if you'd like to make a change there. And we have people that are interested. I will tell you, historically, we've had a hard time drumming up people that want to serve on these boards, which is one of the reasons why the council was appointed as the BOA. We would love nothing more than to get more involvement for our boards and commissions, but it's been a struggle trying to get people to
Well,
volunteer.
People are not aware of positions that are open.
Okay.
I mean, everything is always posted on the Everman website. I mean, you could put it in the newsletter or something like that, because that's the only advertisement or the only way that residents can get the news that's going on in the city.
Okay. I don't want to get too far off topic,
Well,
but
correct. I understand that as well.
yeah.
Craig, I'm in agreement with using the Board of Adjustments or the P and Z.
Yeah.
It gives them more of a role, because right now they don't have a lot to do. Let's make the boards more active. I think those individuals are probably better educated when it comes to our planning and zoning and stuff than most of our citizens.
Yeah, with their experience already being involved in the planning and zoning processes, they're familiar with some of the standards and things in the code already. So I think that'll be helpful in their guidance and decisions that they'll have to make related to substandard buildings.
I mean, we know the problem we've had trying to create new boards. So we got one we're voting on tonight that's what, how many months?
Yeah.
We still don't have it up and running. Hopefully after tonight we will, but
Yes.
I shudder just thinking about having to create another board right now.
Second board on top of P and Z, yeah.
But
Did you have anything to add, sir?
So essentially, just to keep everyone, if you're not aware of the process, the way these are written is they're going to be written almost like a step-by-step instruction. Here's how you go about condemning a property. And so the way these are going to be written is more or less like a step-by-step process. That's how the ordinance is written. So it's going to be, here is the process of condemnation. Here's how you follow it.
Yeah.
These are exceedingly rare, like Craig is getting to, but it will actually have the process in there, how we go about placing a lien on the property at expense, so the city doesn't pay for the condemnation. Stuff like that will all be in the ordinance. So more or less, it's pretty easy checklist to follow. What they do is they're the body that actually decides whether to initiate the procedure. However, these people still have a right, because it is a quote unquote taking of their property. They have a right always to appeal to a judicial system. So all this board does is just make the determination that these people then have a right to a judicial hearing concerning.
And that's all we've got on that topic, Mayor, unless there's any other questions.
any other questions or comments? Okay, so next item is item 8, consideration and possible action. Item A, ordinance number 804, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Everman, Texas by amending section 19-76, special ordinances prohibiting or regulating parking of vehicles at specific places on designated streets of Division 1, generally of Article 3, stopping, standing, and parking, providing a severability clause, providing a repealing clause, and providing an effective date. So I guess I'll entertain a motion, then we'll open it up for discussion.
I move we approve ordinance 804 as read. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
As far as the hours, I noticed it was from 7 to 4, and now is that, I understand that being in front of the school, but, and I understand for as, students being at the park, but for regular residents or anyone else that wants to be at the park more than 2 hours.
Yeah, on school days, it will be enforceable, meaning that residents wouldn't be able to park there for longer than 2 hours. Now, what I will tell you is all tows coming out of that park will have to be initiated by law enforcement. And law enforcement officers are empowered with or they have the power of discretion. And so the officers will have to use their discretion at that time. I can tell you that most of our officers utilize a lot of common sense in the enforcement of these laws. They see a family of 4 out there for 2 hours and 4 minutes. It's very unlikely that we're going to be towing that one particular vehicle. But we also have to make sure that we're enforcing the law fairly and equally across the board. So we see a family that's parked out there for 2 hours. We ask them, hey, can you come over and move your vehicle over one parking space? And they've complied with the law. They're fine as long as that vehicle's been moved. So there are ways around this to where we're targeting the issue without negatively impacting those who are visiting our parks.
So is this gonna be every park or is it, so,
This is specific to Johnson Park.
okay, so is it gonna be that entire east side?
It will, this includes both parking lots,
But the entire stretch?
the whole parking. Yes, ma'am.
7 to 4.
7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on school days.
So on school day, so Tuesday, I'm gonna go up there and park my car and get out and walk my dogs and play on the playground. Cause that's what I like to do. And if I am there for 2 hours and 10 minutes, I could possibly get a ticket or have my car.
You are in violation of this ordinance as it is written. Yes, ma'am.
And we're gonna have lots of signs up to let people know.
We have ordered, I think I included that in the memo. Oh, no, I didn't. I think we've ordered 25 of these to put just in that park alone.
Is this also gonna include the stretch that runs east and west deep into the park where people have kind of mowed over that big hump of dirt and it's that little stretch that used to be a teeny.
Yeah, the road closure,
Yeah.
the Townley Road closure. Yes. And every time we put something up to close that road, somebody comes in there and tears it out every single time. But that is a closed road and we have written tickets for driving through the grass when we see vehicles doing that.
So
There's
what's
a
gonna
lot of
be the
cars there.
first step on those cars?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What's gonna be the first step on those cars?
If this ordinance is approved tomorrow, the first thing our officers are going to do tomorrow is issue a paper warning on the windshield of every vehicle that's parked in that parking lot. We are trying to warn as many as we can before we have to go to enforcement. We have counted between 50 and 75 cars there a day occupying that parking lot. And what's happening is these students are choosing to park there because they don't want to comply with the school district's policies and procedures where they have to register their vehicle. There's no cost to registering their vehicle. The reason why the school district encourages them to register their vehicle is to make sure that all vehicles on the campus are operated by a licensed driver. All vehicles have insurance on there in case something happens, which has happened. And those vehicles are locked in a secure parking lot, preventing students from skipping school, skipping class, whatever it may be, as well as preventing unwanted guests coming onto the campus outside of school hours. So with them parking over at a park and having to walk from that park over there, they're occupying our parking spaces. They're creating unnecessary wear and tear on our parking lots. Many of these drivers do not have driver's licenses, do not have insurance, putting other motorists on the road at risk if they're involved in an accident. We have had vehicles up there that have contraband in them, and they're parking it at our park rather than parking it at the school because they feel like the school it'll be detected, but at the park it may not be. We've tried to educate people that the same search the same searches are applicable at both locations. That we can do open air canine sniffs at the park, just like we do at the school, but that hasn't deterred them from trying it. There's also been many kids who are skipping school. They choose to park their vehicle over here because it's not blocked in. They have the ability to skip school, go over to the park, get in their vehicle and leave. We've just had a lot of issues. We've also had students afterwards when school is released and there's a gathering at the park. We've had them doing donuts in the parking lot, driving recklessly, putting other people at risk in that parking lot. So we're just trying to alleviate that issue as much as possible, forcing them to comply with the school guidelines, and not prohibit our residents from being able to enjoy our parks the way they need to be.
Any other discussion? Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 804. Would you poll the council?
Place one,
Aye.
place two.
Aye.
Place three, place four,
Aye.
place five.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item B, resolution number 2023-11-01, the resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, approving an interlocal cooperation agreement for a communications center and emergency dispatch services with the Briar Reno Fire Department, BRFD, and providing an effective date. So I'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion to approve resolution 2023-11-01 as read.
I second.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, Scott, Linda. Okay, I've got a motion and seconded. Any discussion?
What is their population?
I do not know. I know that they're less than 5,000. So that's the reason for the bracket that they're falling in of
Isn't that pretty much county where they're
35,000.
at?
Yes. Yeah. Briar Reno. So the Briar Reno Fire Department services the city of Pelican Bay, city of Reno, city of, and it's not even a city, but they call themselves a city. It's like 500 people. But they serve primarily unincorporated areas close to Azle, right outside of the Azle area.
Okay, this is for fire and police, correct?
No, man, this is just for fire dispatch. This is a renewal. They were with us this last year. So this is just a renewal of the agreement, extending it for another year.
Any other questions?
Yeah, okay, it's just fire department. No,
You good? Okay. Okay, it's got a motion and a second for resolution number 2023-1101 for approval. Would you hold the council?
Place one,
Aye.
place two.
Aye.
Place three,
Aye.
place four,
aye.
place five.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item C, resolution number 2023-11-02, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, approving an interlocal cooperation agreement for communications center and emergency dispatch services with the town of Edgecliff Village and providing an effective date.
I move we approve resolution 2023-11-02 as read.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
I know this is probably just a renewal for them, but in case we have a blackout, what is the backup plan for these services?
For providing, I want to make sure I word this in a way that it stays in line with the agenda item. To make sure that we can always provide the services as required within the agreement. The center is equipped with full generator backup as well as twin service backup to the center. And there are multiple redundancies built into both the IT networks as well as the radio networks. So there is a backup to a backup to a backup within this facility, which is one of the reasons of why the investment was so great up front. And we were able to get, I mean, the dispatch center here in Everman cost, and this wasn't Everman dollars, cost 3.2 million, I think, in total investment, thanks to grant funding and everybody else that participated. But all that was built that way specifically to make sure that we could always provide services regardless of power, internet outage, whatever it may be. We've got redundancy built into all of it.
Any other questions? Okay, so we have a motion to approve resolution Motion is second to approve resolution 2023-11-02. Would you poll the council?
Place one,
Aye.
place two.
Aye.
Place three. Place four,
Aye.
place five.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, item D, discuss and consider removal of Bobby Montgomery from the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. Now, we don't need a motion for this, right? We just go into discussion? Correct? Okay. So Bobby Montgomery is one of the two individuals that hasn't kind of be sworn in, so.
That's incorrect, and her, she wanted the same day.
Yeah, she was the total.
Okay, then this shouldn't be Bobby Montgomery then. Who's the other one?
We have Bubby Montgomery and Jackie Johnson. We believed that Jackie Johnson was the one that was sworn in with you on that day. Is that not correct? It was Bobby Montgomery? Okay.
Okay.
And my question is, have y'all contacted these people? I know it's been 6 months, if not more. But have you even contacted these people to see if they were interested to continue to
Yes, they submitted the application, and once they were appointed, we contacted them asking them to come up and be sworn in, and they've refused to show. We haven't seen them.
But when we did the budget back in September and before September, the council decided not to have could continue it or whatever.
No. So there was no allocation of funding for the program, but that doesn't change the existence of the board itself.
Okay, you bring up the funding. If you'll remember, when we were doing the budget, I mentioned regarding funding for the senior, and you said we weren't giving them any money.
Right.
Yeah, correct. There were no,
Okay,
but there were no funds appropriated for the program, but that doesn't mean the board doesn't exist. We don't appropriate funds for any of our boards. Planning and zoning, economic development. I mean, the boards themselves are self-sustaining through whatever it is, utilizing their own funds. So we don't appropriate any funds to essentially have a board created. Just because there's no funding appropriated doesn't mean the board doesn't exist and fulfill its duties or task. And so the purpose behind the Senior Citizen Advisory Board was to bring ideas up together on programs that they could do in the city, whether it's having a day out at lunch or having a craft day or whatever it may be, what would be beneficial to the senior citizens within our community. But there weren't any dollars appropriated out of the budget for that program.
right, but you went through and set up an ordinance and everything for the senior citizen board and put in dates. And so how can the dates even be effective if it was never started?
But that was to create the board,
I'm aware of that.
which we still haven't, we don't have a full board yet. So,
I think that if they requested to be on the board, let me take it back. I think if they requested to be a part of the board, they fill out the application. I think they own a little responsibility to call up to the city hall and say, hey, when can I get sworn in? How do I get involved? And they've contacted them and they haven't bothered to reply.
And I don't.
And that is correct, but you'll also, if those people that don't seem to be interested, okay, take them off. You look at Judy Graham submitted her application. And when she called in, they told her that they couldn't go forward with her until they took somebody off. Well, if people aren't interested, take them off.
That's what we're doing.
Okay,
tonight.
but I need to be abundantly clear. I want to make sure there's not a misconception. Staff doesn't run these boards. We don't make the appointments. We don't oversee the appointments. We don't oversee when they meet. That's city council's responsibility. You make the appointments to the board. You provide the guidance on when they meet, how they meet, what your expectations are. We're just here to try to facilitate the process. So if somebody wants to apply for a board, they fill out the application, we bring it to you, we make the appointment. We don't follow up with them. We don't make sure that they're complying with the rules. That's a city council responsibility, not us. You're making the appointments. And the purpose behind that is you're supposed to be appointing people to represent you in your position on these various boards, whether it be planning and zoning, economic development, senior citizen advisory board, and they communicate and work directly with you, not with staff. We have liaisons here to try to help facilitate, to make sure that if there's any city resources we need to be supplying to these, they have the agendas, they're complying with the law, whatever it may be. But these boards are solely run and appointed by you as the council, not by us. And
Okay,
so we don't oversee any of that.
let me throw something out there. Right now, I'm not comfortable with moving on any of these right now until we check our records, make sure we have accurate names. And yeah, because I thought Judy Graham would have been on this one, but I think there's been some miscommunication somewhere. So let's go back and check the records, and let's if Bobby Montgomery was here, so that's one error. Let's make sure we have the right information before us before we start voting on this.
Yeah.
And maybe we can do that next meeting. So everybody good with that?
So does that mean we will postpone B, E, F, and G until next go around?
Correct.
Depending on what the names should be.
Because F and G,
Mayor, you've got 4 agenda items on here. You got to take some action on which you can do, but I want to ask the attorney, can we just move forward, even though the agenda item is specifically for one person? Can they move forward with removing all members from this board, wiping the slate clean, reappointing 5 new members?
We can amend the agenda if that's the goal of the council right now. And to his point, if you look at your charter, these board members serve at the will of the council. If it's your all's discretion, you want to blanketly remove them, you certainly can do so. But it's kind of, again, they serve at your will. So it's kind of the objective you guys want to get at here. I can certainly add items to this if that's what you'd like to do here, but obviously we have to remove these individuals before we can appoint anyone else into that position.
thoughts?
Why would we want to take them all off tonight?
Yeah, well.
All I'm saying is because there's confusion on who's been sworn in. You've appointed 5, only 2 were ultimately sworn in.
Actually 3.
Who's
Doreen. Well, we.
who?
had
Doreen. I'm sorry. Doreen was sworn in. Yes. After the fact.
But we did.
So-
have
I
Dorothy
think
and
what we
Earl
need to
come
do
and say,
Yeah.
is get phone numbers, call, see if they're still interested. And go from there. Because we have, if you can get the applications, email them to us with their names and what date they submitted them. Because if the lady you said submitted it first before these 2 people, you know what I'm saying? You don't
Yeah.
want to bump her out if she's interested.
No,
I think we just need to.
I'm all for that. Again, I think the expectation has been that staff is going to oversee this board, which if you recall, when we created the ordinance, this was my biggest fear, is that an overwhelmed staff was going to be expected to oversee more that we knew was going to fail. So, well, no, I'm just saying I've raised that concern previously. And so we do share every board application that comes in. We share that with all the information. You make the appointments. We're happy to reshare all that information, but it has not been staff's responsibility to oversee this. And so when it fails, I feel like the finger's getting pointed at us, and it shouldn't be pointed at us.
How different is this than any other board?
It's not.
Okay, so why is there so much confusion?
Nobody's taking charge of this board, but I think the expectation is that staff is going to take charge of this board.
Well, at the last meeting, you assigned someone to it from the staff.
We assign a liaison by charter to every member, but they don't oversee the board. They show up just to be a liaison. So if there's Jennifer Nateros is this liaison. So she's just there. She's supposed to be at the meetings to help coordinate. If you need help with an agenda, you need help with making a connection. But she's not a board member. She doesn't serve on the board. She doesn't oversee the board whatsoever. Yeah, right.
Can someone that is already sworn in be put in charge until the whole thing is put together?
But the board is the one that decides who's
Yes.
the chair of that committee.
How many
Correct.
people are sworn in as of now for the
3.
board? 3. Can one of those 3 people be in charge of getting that board together?
Well, three's a quorum. As long as they all three show up, right?
Yes.
That's a good idea. Three would be a quorum. So get together with the liaison, get together,
Put somebody in charge.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because it's all voluntary.
exactly, exactly.
You remember the North End Earl was to.
Yeah, the liaison won't vote, but
Yeah.
Well, but it may be out of their control. I mean, it
But they're
sounds
not
like Judy
sworn in.
Graham needs to be the next up.
Yeah, it was people way before.
So
sure. No,
that would be one open
it's your
spot.
appointees.
I think
It makes no difference to me who you
Call,
appoint.
go down the list.
Sure.
See.
I just want to make sure we have the
Who's
correct,
interested, who's not.
Right,
Okay.
I want to make sure we
Going
have
to
the
do
correct
that.
names too, who's been sworn in.
yeah, that's, yes,
We do want to remove the right people, so. And if we start having issues with any of the, existing, then we'll replace them, put somebody else on there,
Right.
so.
that's right, okay.
So do we need to vote on
Shelby.
moving this stuff to the next meeting or?
Just move to table it. Just
Discussing.
move to table it.
I just want to make sure our information's correct. So,
Okay.
I mean, as much as I'd like to get this done tonight, like I said, the Bobby Montgomery thing, it just,
Yeah.
Steve said he wanted to be on a board.
And before we're done with it, I just want to reiterate what Craig is saying to you. As far as like gathering these applications and interviewing them and picking, he can't do any of that. Once he gets the applications, he turns them over to you, and it is at your will who is selected and who is not selected. Him or no other city official is allowed to make a recommendation on appoint this individual, do not appoint this individual.
Right.
It is totally,
Council's gotta do it.
council has to do it. He just can transfer the documents to you so you can make an informed decision.
But the quorum could maybe appoint somebody to.
They cannot appoint.
Find
They-
interested people.
They cannot appoint. You have to
Right,
do
but
it.
they can call and ask about interested people and then bring it to the council so that we could make the appointments.
You're talking about they could
They could.
do public awareness about vacancies?
And
Is that what you're saying?
applications.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody can do that. Absolutely. Yes.
but it sounds like we have more than enough applicants now to fill the board. But I just,
How odd is that?
like I said, I just want to make sure we're removing the right people and appointing the right people.
Mhm.
Yes,
Because I don't want to pass over Judy Graham if she's next up.
Sure.
And, but anyway, that's
So
my
the
thought.
mayor, I'd recommend entertaining a motion to table on items D, E, F, and G.
Oh, motion table? Know what you said?
I would recommend entertaining that motion. I'm not making the motion. I would recommend
Well,
entertaining.
that's
that
what I was asking.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion on items D, E, F, and G.
okay, I move that we postpone, what's my word?
Table.
Table, my elbows are on the table. I move that we, make a motion. Whatever it is I'm trying to say,
Motion to table items T
Thank
through
you.
G.
I make a motion to table items D, E, F, and G.
I second.
Who was the second?
Hmm.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second to table items D, E, F, and G. Hold the council.
Place one,
Aye.
place two.
Aye.
Place three, place four,
Aye.
place five.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
All right, so no executive session, city manager's report.
We got just a few things. First off, today is election day. There is one proposition on the ballot that city staff has been monitoring, and that is the Tarrant County ESD number 1, Proposition A. The reason why we've been monitoring this one is because this proposition does affect the city of Everman. In the aspect of Proposition A is proposing a sales tax of no more than 2% anywhere in the district. That funding will be allocated specifically towards firefighters, paramedics on all county services. So if this proposition is approved, the expectation is that this will provide additional funding to the Tarrant County Emergency Services District, which will ultimately increase funding for the city of Everman, hopefully for additional staffing. So that proposition is on the ballot. Only unincorporated Tarrant County voters have the opportunity to vote on it, but we are monitoring that, so you may want to monitor that one tonight as well. If that does pass, then we will likely be coming back to you within the next few months with a proposal for a new contract with the ESD for additional firefighters. The Noel Angel Alvarez playground had a couple of delays on it. The ADA ramp was back ordered and could not be shipped in. So it is here now, and they are going to install the borders and the ADA ramp this week, and starting turf install on Friday, hopefully be done sometime next week. We are trying to schedule the ribbon cutting and dedication ceremony for that playground. Potentially looking at maybe November 20th, which happens to also be Universal Children's Day, which was declared by the United Nations back in the 50s. So we thought that might be a fairly fitting day, but we'll definitely keep you informed as we get closer. But we are getting very close to announcing that ribbon cutting. Christmas committee is now meeting weekly as we're getting very close, just 3 weeks away from our Christmas tree lighting. So just as a reminder, we have a lot of Christmas events coming up, including a Christmas tree lighting, the holiday market, a movie night, posadas and pozole. And if Mayor, if you'll allow me, can I allow Richard to come up and just explain what posadas and pozole is?
Yeah.
Do you mind? He can explain it a lot better than I can. And he's kind of taken charge on within our Christmas committee on the posadas and pozole.
Yeah. So I initially introduced the idea, right, to the committee. And because I've heard around the community some folks that told me that they wanted to do something kind of like a Christmas caroling, right? Where they and what is a little really traditional in Mexico is that you go caroling from house to house, right? And then eventually somebody opens up and then they sing, right? So you're very traditional caroling. And we were planning to do that during like either the Christmas market or the tree lighting. But I saw that the more and more we pretty much started putting everything together, it was going to be a tight schedule, right? And so after speaking with the folks here at the trailer, Doña Mari, the taco truck that's here in the food truck park, they're actually, they do something like this every year already, but they just do it down their street, right here in Everman, their residents. And so they were thinking, why don't we do this in a completely separate day, right? Because technically it's supposed to be on the 12th of December. And what we're going to pretty much call it is I believe a rosary to the Virgin, right? And what it's gonna be kind of like a mini, very short walk / little parade. Not really a parade, right? Because it's gonna be a few folks, but they're gonna be caroling. And we're going to start here in Pittman Park and go down to Barron, where one of the houses is going to have the Virgin Mary. They're going to pick it up and then we're going to come back. And then the real celebration will be here in Pittman Park, where they're going to decorate the pavilion and they're going to be giving away food, right? And to the people. And it's going to be really traditional things like tamales and kind of like hot chocolate style stuff like that. And they say the point of giving it away is because that's what they've always done, right? And it's something that just really is to bring together the community, right? And so yeah, that's going to be a completely separate day because there's a lot going on already. And we saw overwhelmingly that we thought like, man, it might cause a lot of conflicting schedules. So we thought it's on a Tuesday evening. So but yeah, we have more details to come. As here by the next week, we'll have the flyer finished out and with the dates, with the times and everything. Any questions?
Yeah, what day?
12th of December. Yes. At 6 p.m. we're going to start. And
You're on the Christmas committee. You're supposed to know that.
Any other questions? All right.
Thanks. Appreciate you. Have a few awards too that we're going to be giving out. We've got the UB raffle. So any customer that pays their utility bill this month on time will automatically be entered into a raffle that we're going to give away at the Christmas tree lighting. We're also doing a Christmas Spirit Award. So we're trying to encourage residents to put out some prominent displays. They can register online for that. The Christmas committee will be a judge. The December 19th city council meeting will present them with their award. We're also working with the school district to do a Christmas drawing contest with a particular grade where they can submit their drawings, and we'll pick a couple of different drawings to post onto our website and kind of brag about those kids, and then present them with an award at the Christmas tree lighting as well. So several different things going on. We're excited about this year. We are still looking for sponsorships and support. So if you know any companies or organizations that are willing to financially support this program, feel free to let us know, because again, all of this is run through donations and sponsorships. We have not allocated any dollars out of the budget for our Christmas events. So other than that, that's all I got, Mayor.
Okay, so next is mayor's report, and just want to let everybody know Susan and I went on a transportation meeting with Trinity Metro. And it's basically train service. We rode the Tex Rail and the TRE, and we spent 4 hours, 5 hours doing it. But they were showing us the benefits of being able to use the train. And I'm telling you right now, I'll be riding that train to Grapevine on a regular basis, go eat dinner. So they go up there for Christmas events and things, but it opens up a lot of avenues for us. So very interesting meeting.
Yeah.
So. And the only other two things I have is just remind everybody the line barter, the holiday party they do at the Modern on December the 6th is coming up, and you must RSVP by the 20th. I did forward emails to everybody with that attachment. So please RSVP if you plan on going. It's just it's cocktails and hors d'oeuvres, I guess you'd say. It's small things to eat, but it's good for networking. So I usually try to corner Fort Worth mayor over there and hit her up for some things while we're there, and some other individuals. So and then the other one is trying to remember. The mayor's council dinner is on December the 11th at the Hearst Convention Center or Conference Center. I'm still waiting for the official invite to come for that. I believe what I was told was that it's probably going to be about $35 a head, which is cheaper than it's been in the past. But they're talking filet mignon, I think salad, and it's an array of desserts. So, but it's a business meeting where the new board for the mayor's council is appointed. So, or the new board, I guess you'd say. The new president comes in, and but anyway, just as soon as I get that, I'll reach out to everybody, and you'll have to go through me because we need to do it all in one swoop. So anybody's wanting to go to that. So
Send us an email on that.
yeah, as soon as I get I think I sent this out. This was just to save the date.
Oh, okay.
But as soon as I get the official invite, I will send that out to everybody and just ask you if you're going to go to, send me back with you. I think you're entitled to take one guest with you.
That's on December 11th.
Yes. I think it was 6:00 is the cocktail hour, and then maybe the meeting starts at 6:30, I believe. So just kind of keep that in your mind. So, but other than that, that is all I have. So the time is 7:19 and we are adjourned.
19 minutes.
A little over 45 minutes.